I'm not on the straight and narrow. I want to break the rules. I want to go outside of the lines. I want people to actually be fulfilled. And I think the profile of the student who comes on this project knows that. It's impossible to know this country unless you study politics, economics, and culture. So it's not just a business tour of the companies that are actually really doing well here, or the companies that agree with us. It's a tour of a combination of businesses that you could consider corporate, like Discovery Health, Cape Union Mart, Nando's Chicken, which everyone loves, and is now in Chicago and coming to California, probably the best healthy fast food in the world. But it's also about going to a not-for-profit like Harambee, which is deeply, deeply committed to making a difference in creating the new Black professional. Incredible program of behavioral change, values-based work, etc.
I've seen people transform after this SIB trip to South Africa. People come from their normal lives in America, which is a first world country, and they come to South Africa, which is a mixture of first and third world. And they're really surprised at the generosity of spirit of Ubuntu, of a person is not a person without other people.
Another high point of the trip is going to the African School for Excellence. I mean, you're talking about a township where people are wondering how they're going to get the money for food that night. We're talking about hand to mouth. We're talking about extreme poverty. Yet these people, such as Jay Klockenberg and a group of other political activists, they are probably about to produce a graduating class of a 100% matriculation pass. That is like unheard of in South Africa, because most of the schools that actually are in Black areas are still reporting a 0 pass matric. So in working with these beautiful kids, people heard things like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be an astronomer. And where that's all coming from is that's coming from the will to dream and to turn dreams into realities.
The one experience that really stuck with me was the African School of Excellence and the students I met there, and just their resilience, their intelligence, their commitment to bringing a better life for themselves. It really showed me that I am given the opportunity to be in one of the most powerful economies in the world, Silicon Valley. And instead of being jaded with, is my personal pet peeve, this whole like brand, money-driven culture, I should really use this opportunity I've been given to help other people out.
It's those kinds of things which move us deeply. We went to an incredible place called Seven Sisters, which is a wine farm run and owned by 7 colored women, colored meaning women of mixed race, and that they have created something which is a viable business. They received us with such warmth and affection and love, and we had an incredible meal there. I mean, when do you go to a wine farm to do a bit of tasting and suddenly the dancing starts and the hugging starts and the rejoicing?
Well, South Africans know how to party, and that is for sure. And you will go to some of the best restaurants and have some of the finest dining that you will have anywhere in the world. You can have any kind of meal that you can imagine anywhere. But you'll also get to learn to dance like an African, enjoy life like an African. You'll have a chance to party and meet some really, really cool people.
So it begins in Johannesburg. I believe it's the Zulu word for Johannesburg is Egoli, which is the gold one. This was the city of the gold rush, where everybody absolutely flocked to Egoli to be part of the future. This is the hotbed of South African society. It is the center of business, center of culture, center of politics and consternation. Cape Town's older than Johannesburg. Cape Town is the port that they all sailed into, the Dutch and the British. And you really get a feeling when you go to Robben Island of how old this country is and how long the struggle's been going on for freedom. Robben Island was where Nelson Mandela served what was to be a life sentence. All he was doing was actually, in a very, very non-violent protest, he was trying to create a future of equality where every person, one woman, one man, had one vote. And he probably spent his best years, from his 40s to his 70s, in prison, fighting for those values. And we'll be hearing about his story as well as the story of hundreds of other people. And the great thing on Robben Island is that the tour guides are not professional tour guides. They were all there in the 60s and the 70s. They were all former prisoners. And they do this partially as a labor of love, but partially that they want us to never ever forget how things actually began in this country, from a racist society to the beginning of a free society in May of 1994.
Well, I came on this trip and I didn't really know much about South Africa. So I feel very grateful that I came and that I had this opportunity to learn more about a place where the history of inequality is so recent and where actually it's still going on. But I feel most of all surprised by the warmth of the people and the beauty of the hope that we found here. I picked up this bracelet the other day, and I think for me it's a good representation of this trip actually, because when you look at it, it looks like maybe it's just colored plastic or something, but it's actually made of little pieces of rolled up paper, and I think it's just the perfect representation of how you don't expect that something so beautiful can come from what I would otherwise think of as something that would go in the recycling bin. And that's what we found here, is just the ability to transform things that maybe other cultures would find unwanted or ugly into something beautiful and colorful and diverse.